Washington Commanders went up to Detroit on a short week as the 6th seed playing the number 1 seed, right? Nobody gave them, a chance to win that game. The Lions had a very historic season, the best season they had ever had. So they were very overly confident going into this game against the Commanders. The Commanders pulled off the major upset, 6th seed beating number 1. So many people said they couldn't do it. Even I, on our previous show, said it's going to be close, but I just don't think we're going to be able to surpass them. Boy, am I glad I was wrong. All week they prepared in every way that they could. They tried to treat it like any other game, but also keeping in mind the importance of it. I loved how they practiced with the simulated crowd noise. I'm sure that came into play and helped them when they actually got into that dome, because I've heard many accounts it was extremely loud. And so they had to prepare to understand how to deal with that crowd noise like that when they got into a real game situation. So smart on them to prepare with simulated crowd noise. Right away, I was very surprised. Our offensive line showed up in a way that they absolutely needed to for a game of this magnitude. I mean, Jaden was standing back there in that pocket. He could have did his taxes. He could have wrote a letter to a friend. He could have made a couple of phone calls. That pocket had him nice and blanketed and protected up in there. B-Rob showed up and ran how he's supposed to run, how we're accustomed to him running, very aggressively, very downhill, stop me or not. And the offense was just clicking on all cylinders, particularly as we know that second quarter, it was magical. The one negative thing, though, that happened with the offensive line is that our lineman, Sam Cosmi, went down. We drafted him in 2021, and he's been through, 3 really crappy seasons, if you want to be honest about it. And so to see him go down just before, the game before the Super Bowl, it's really just, it stings. And you're dealing with real people. And so when people get hurt, and then now you have all the feelings and the emotions of all the things you strive for, just going down with your injury. So we don't even know if he's going to be back in time for the start of next season. So we're hoping that his, rehabilitation goes faster than we expected. But that was the one, dark spot in the game against the Lions. Jared Goff, let's talk about him. He had an awful game and picked the wrong time to have it. 3 interceptions, a turnover, a fumble of some sort. I mean, I sat there and I watched him and I'm like, this is the dude they were praising that they went 15-2 with. I mean, it was awful decisions at key times, turnovers galore. And so I think this is one of those things why I say you got to remain humble. One of the things that I appreciate about the Commanders this year is that they have a humility about them. They have that word they keep using, a brotherhood about them. They don't go out there boasting and bragging about what they're going to do. They just do it and let the actions speak for themselves. The Lions players got too caught up in the hype of being the number 1 seed. And I get it. I would be excited too if it was my team, but you have to still, keep a level of humility, a level of decorum about yourself and act like you've been there before, even if you haven't. And so I think that was the difference, humility versus a bunch of boastful prideness and, gameplay too. And just Goff had a terrible game. I want to give a shout out. I want to give accolades to a couple of Commanders players, okay? I mentioned B-Rob earlier. It was like he was missing for a couple of games. It's like he wasn't running like he was supposed to run for a couple of games. And then it's like he turned that light on and he was B-Rob again. So I got to give him a shout out. Also, De'Ami Brown, he's been showing up in the playoffs. He picked the right time to turn the switch on. Goff picked the wrong time to turn the switch off. De'Ami said, I'm going to turn it on in the playoffs. He's been showing up game after game, and so I want to give him recognition. Quan Martin had his pick 6. Every time I thought he was going to get caught on that run back, I said, they got him. At least we're going to be at the 15. Oh, we're going to be at the 10. Next thing you know, he was in the end zone. So I got to shout out Quan Martin for his first NFL pick 6. Now, I got to shout out Frozone, otherwise known as Mike Sanders still. He had not 1, but 2 interceptions in that Lions game. And what I'm appreciating, also Jeremy Chin, who got the game-clinching interception, and Dante Fowler. What I'm appreciating is that the secondary and the offensive line were, to me, our worst parts last year and years prior. Those are the units that I'm seeing starting to gel at the right time. at the right time, y'all. This is exciting. We really have to give our secondary props. And also, I really haven't heard too much, about St. Jude's here lately. We was on him all season long, but I feel like the secondary is coming together. I feel like the offensive line is gelling even when one goes down. And it's like they just move the pieces around and they make it work. And so I like the next man up mentality, and I like the humility. And while we're talking about accolades and giving people recognition, let's just go right to our boy Jaden, okay, who I didn't mention with the shout outs because every week he's doing what he's doing. Jaden has been named the 2024 Offensive Rookie of the Year and Rookie of the Year by the Pro Football Writers of America. But now I want to have a discussion about what MVP means. I know y'all have heard this discussion on other places, other shows, other whatever. But let's have a discussion. Let's talk. MVP stands for Most Valuable Player. What player who in the NFL this season has been more valuable to their team than Jayden Daniels? I'll wait. The only name that I'll consider other than Jayden, and then it's not even close, is Saquon Barkley. That's the only name that I will consider other than Jayden Daniels. Other than that, anybody else in the consideration, you've got to be kidding. People only tend to look at stats when it comes to MVP. And yes, that's a major part of it. But if you think about it, MVP is almost like if you pull this one player, would this team be the same without him? Some of these other people that y'all are talking about, if they went down, yes, their team would absolutely be affected. But they haven't had the impact, the major turnaround impact that Jayden has had, which to me makes him the most valuable player of the league this year. The Commanders were 4-13 last year. I sat through it like many of you have, sometimes in person, sometimes at home. So I saw it up close and personal. How are we now during the regular season, 12-5 the very next year, and getting ready to play the NFC Championship game against the Eagles? How? So some of these people that y'all are naming, Burrow, Mahomes, whoever, Josh Allen, I get it, Lamar, I get it. But the impact that this one player has had on this one team makes him so valuable. To me, Jayden Daniels should be in the top like 2 or 3 for MVP running. He should be in the conversation. Now, some people say Sabrina, okay, he's got Rookie of the Year. Let him have that. He should just stay over there because he's a rookie. He shouldn't even be considered. It's not about whether it's his first year or his 10th. It's about who was the most valuable. And yes, this turnaround started not just with Jayden, but it started with the new ownership who, is running this team not just as a business as they should, but understanding that there are people involved. You can't just run a business and run it in the ground trying to make money. You have to understand that it's the people that make the business run and be successful. That's the players, that's the coaches, that's the fans, and that's anybody around that wants to cheer for or work for your team. So the turnaround definitely started with the new ownership, and then they went and got Dan Quinn, our coach, and Adam Peters, our general manager. And did y'all know, I was looking at something, Adam Peters has been involved with the last 5 of the last 6 teams in the NFC that went to the championship game. The last 5 of the 6 years, he has been the GM of one of those teams. So that is amazing. We have a winner on our hands. All of these things work collaboratively for us to be where we are today. So as the Commanders get ready to play the Eagles this Sunday, the question is being asked, is he going to be the first rookie quarterback ever to start in the Super Bowl? Now, some of y'all are saying, Sabrina, it's been people that's rookies that have been to the Super Bowl before as a quarterback. Let me have you pump your brakes. Watch this graphic that's about to pop up right here. So you have Brock Purdy in the 2022-23 season. You have Mark Sanchez in 2009 and 2010. Joe Flacco in 08-09. And the big one that people keep mentioning, Ben Roethlisberger in 04 and 05. Because I think he may have gone to the Super Bowl the very next year as a second-year player, but I have to check that one. And then Sean King for the Buccaneers in 99-2000. So understand that if Jayden, wins this game against the Eagles, he will be the first rookie quarterback ever in the history of the league to start in a Super Bowl. Unbelievable with all the other things he's already done. Now I want to show you something else. I'm on a roll with these accolades, y'all. I want to show you something else real quick about Jayden. He has the highest postseason QBR of all the teams that were in the playoffs. Now you may say, Sabrina, Mahomes or Lamar or whoever, look at this graphic. Lamar is second to Jaden. If you're talking about Mahomes, he's fifth. You talk about Jalen Hurts, all y'all Eagles fans, God bless you. He's number 9. Okay. Another thing that's up for consideration with all the different NFL honors is Coach of the Year. And Dan Quinn, our coach, I'll say our quarterback, our coach, he's one of the top remaining 5 finalists for Coach of the Year. The other 4 finalists are Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings, Sean Payton for the Broncos, Andy Reid for the Chiefs, and Dan Campbell from the Lions. Here's my opinion about that list that you just saw. We just beat the Lions this past game, the divisional round. Yes, they've had the best season that they've ever had. Number 1 seed. Should he be Coach of the Year when he didn't finish the job? Next, you have the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, which we mentioned. The Vikings must have thought week 17 was a Super Bowl, the way they went to that locker room spraying champagne and jumping up and down, because after that, they completely imploded. Should their coach be the Coach of the Year after that? What Sean Payton is doing in Denver is commendable. Bo Nix is going to be a problem for years to come. I know they found their quarterback. But has he done enough to be Coach of the Year, Sean Payton? Now, Andy Reid is tricky, right? Because the Chiefs are the 2-time Super Bowl champions. They're trying to three-peat this year. And, of course, maybe he should be in the conversation pretty much every year because look how the Chiefs are doing with some help, but we're going to talk about that later, okay? But so, yeah, to me, this is a 2-man race. It's Dan Quinn for the Commanders, Andy Reid with the Chiefs. Am I saying that because I'm a Commanders fan? Maybe like 5%, but I think that he's earned it. Look at the turnaround, of course, in large part due to Jaden and other things behind the scenes, but should Dan Quinn be in the conversation as top 2? To me, yes. And so we'll find out the results of the Coach of the Year and all the other whatevers of the year as part of the NFL Honor Show on February the 6th. So now let's get to the good stuff. Let's go to these NFL Championship Sunday games and who I'm going to pick. I also got picks from my co-host Gwen, who still, is out on her bereavement leave, but she gave me her picks for today. So I'm going to let you know who she picked too. We're first going to start with this matchup right here. And as you can see, the Bills are taking on the Kansas City Refs, otherwise known as the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? Here's the deal. As long as there are no extenuating circumstances, the Bills should win this game. As long as this is a fair game played all the way around, the Bills should win this game. So I'm going to pick the Bills to win this game. They've seen Mahomes and them many a time before and come out on the wrong end. I'm believing this year is going to be the year for them as long as, okay. Now, Gwen says she thinks that the Kansas City Refs are going to have cheating on their side so much that the Chiefs are not going to be able to help but win. So Gwen is picking the Chiefs not because she necessarily wants it, but because she thinks the Bills are going to have to play the players and the refs too. So I'm picking the Bills. Gwen is picking the Chiefs by tampering. Now to the game that means something to me and something to all of the entire Commanders nation, not just in the DMV, but all around the world. We have my Commanders going up to Philly on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern to play our NFC East rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. This is too crunchy for me. I'm nervous already. Sidebar real quick. How many of y'all go through, emotional and physical changes during these games? I mean, I've had people and even me, talking about their heart is racing. They got to lay down. They pacing the floor. They can't breathe. I'm like, we sound like crazy people. But this is what this team is taking us through. And now we have an NFC East battle for the championship to go to the Super Bowl. Let's get our prayers and our lives in order before this game starts. I picked against my Commanders last week with the Lions. I wasn't sure that we can pull it out. And they, of course, like I said, they proved me way wrong. I can't pick against my boys again. I cannot do it. We've made it this far playing a certain type of football with a certain type of mentality, showing no fear. I can't pick against my boys when it's all the rubber meets the road. I'm going to pick the Commanders. And Gwen also said she picks the Commanders too. The two keys for me, are these. I got to shift in my seat for this. The two keys are, number one, we all know if you pay any type of attention, key number one, stop number 26, Saquon Barkley. If we can contain Saquon, that's half the offense right there. I mean, that's just half the battle right there. Number two, to me, it's not the wide receivers, because if we can get to Jalen and get him off, then wide receivers and tight ends not going to be able to do anything. Y'all not going to tell me that Jalen is all the way healthy. The way they bent that knee back like Gumby last week, oh no, he is not healthy at all. What we need to do is flush his behind out of that pocket and help him to be a receiver. Let him be wide open so we can, just give him a little land on other hands real quick. If we can contain Saquon and Jalen, all bets are off. We going to the Super Bowl. I'm picking the Commanders. I hope we do what we supposed to do. This is it. Real quick, Gwen sent me this graphic right here. Look at this. Somebody done went up to Philly and put Commanders outfits on a Rocky statue. Now, we doing too much. We doing too much. We got to stay humble like I was talking about earlier. Then, listen to this.
See? The Commanders been winning. But this Sunday they're gonna get beat. We're gonna do our duty and win the NFC, because the Eagles on the road to the Super Bowl. So when they get in from DC, we're gonna kick them in the butt. Bird gang.
So shout out to Gwen for sending me the foolishness. But anyway, this is it, y'all. It's for Super Bowl or bust. Either way it goes, we as Commanders fans, we're more than happy with how the season has gone. If it ends up that we lose, we don't want that, but it's gone so well for us, better than we could have expected. And the future is just so bright. People are going to want to come here now. We're going to be a destination team. And so it's all good anyway it go. But I want it. We this close now. I want it. And so I'm hoping for, a repeat of the 91-92 Super Bowl where the Bills play Washington. So we're going to see how it goes. Now, let's shift real quick. Take a look at this picture right here. Something else from Gwen. The Cowboys, bless their hearts, had a couple of coaches on their team that are now going to be in the NFC Championship games this week. So first of all, our head coach in Washington, Dan Quinn, used to be with the with the Cowboys. He is not any longer. And then the Eagles offensive coordinator, the current coordinator, Kellen Moore, used to play with them, and they let him go. Another one, Joe Witt, used to be the Cowboys pass game coordinator for their secondary. Those are three that I'm aware of. Are there any more? Let me know. I don't think I missed any. If I did, let me know. But that just shows you how Jerry Jones he needs to step down in terms of making certain decisions. Hire somebody to make them type of football decisions. You just own the team and hand out the checks. Come on, Jerry. You're making yourself a laughing stock. And I know you want to be America's team, but you ain't making no American decisions. And as it stands now, the Cowboys are the team in the NFC with the longest championship game drought. So another wonderful accolade for them to add to their cap when they think they're America's team. So after these championship games, I'm going to be back. Maybe Gwen will be with me. We're going to see. But one or both of us will be back, win, lose, or draw. I'm hoping for a Commanders win. This city is going to be ridiculous. But either way, we're going to be here. We're going to talk about it. Until next time, I'm Sabrina. Hello from Gwen, and we'll see you next time. Bye.